I saw a Reuters piece today that said that already you've had to raise prices from China.
We have, and fortunately we haven't.
See, he kind of walks back that a little bit, doesn't he? We have, well, fortunately we haven't. Like, sure, bud.
We did a lot of forward buying several months ago, and then a lot of our sellers, our third-party selling partners, forward deployed a lot of inventory to avoid some of the issues with the uncertainty around where tariffs are going to settle. And we have so far not seen prices appreciably go up.
Yeah, so that's all a lie, basically. Haven't seen prices go up? No, we have. Now, to be fair, the government is keeping a very close eye on prices, even as they're doubling down on tariffs, which does increase the cost of bringing goods into the country. But despite this, there are reports coming out that Amazon might just be raising prices anyway, which would be a bit of a contrast to what was said in this interview, which is only about 2 weeks old. And Amazon, for their part, through this whole thing, is insisting that prices are definitely, absolutely not going up, even though they definitely absolutely are.
I think some of that may be, some of it may be the forward buying and deployment I mentioned, but some of it is we have about 2 million sellers in our marketplace. And so even those that decide they're going to pass on whatever the tariff increase is in the form of price, there's probably going to be a number of sellers who decide they're going to take share and not increase price. And so look, that diversity helps customers in our marketplace.
He's insistent. There are no price increases, and even if there were price increases, the sellers would just absorb it for some reason, because I guess that's how business works. But probably he's doing this because he wants to avoid being attacked directly by Donald Trump, which actually happens more often than you might think. Do you remember this Truth Social? Walmart should stop trying to blame tariffs as the reason for raising prices throughout the chain. Walmart made billions of dollars last year, far more than expected. Between Walmart and China, they should, as is said, quote, eat the tariffs and not charge valued customers anything. I'll be watching, and so will your consumers. So it's a scary time for CEOs. They want to please shareholders as well as the president, even though those two ends are basically conflicting. If they upset shareholders by not raising their prices and thus please the president, well, then the shareholders will leave, the profits will go down, and the CEOs won't get their billion-dollar bonuses. And how will they afford their 6th yacht if they don't get their billion-dollar bonuses? But if they upset the president, then the president might come after them personally, or at least their companies, which would be absolutely terrible for business and just awful PR. And I know you're thinking, okay, the president tweeted at Walmart, like, so what? Who cares? Well, that's actually not the only time it's happened. Do you remember this from a few months ago?
This is a hostile and political act by Amazon. Why didn't Amazon do this when the Biden administration hiked inflation to the highest level in 40 years?
CNN was first to report, and NBC News followed, that President Trump personally called Amazon chief Jeff Bezos today to express his displeasure over the proposal. In a follow-up statement, an Amazon spokesperson says the plan to show tariff surcharges was never approved and is not going to happen.
Of course it was never approved and not going to happen. It's also really funny that he called Jeff Bezos personally, even though Jeff Bezos is no longer the CEO of Amazon. That's Andy Jassy, who I guess didn't get a personal phone call. So I suppose he kind of got off the hook there. But this isn't the only time this has happened. CNN reported that this has actually happened several times. On May 6th, Trump threatened a 100% tariff on Mattel after the Barbie and Hot Wheels maker said that it would have to raise prices. Mattel CEO, somebody not even going to try and pronounce that, said Trump tariffs wouldn't bring toy manufacturing to America because toys couldn't be manufactured in America and still be sold at affordable prices. Quote, "We don't see that happening," Kreese told CNBC after Mattel warned that tariffs will increase toy prices for American consumers. Trump fired back from the Oval Office, threatening the company and its CEO. "We'll put a 100% tariff on his toys and he won't be able to sell one toy in the United States. And that's their biggest market," Trump said. "I wouldn't want to have him as an executive for too long." So you can imagine why Amazon's freaking out about the fact that they, one, have to raise their prices in order to keep their profits going up, but two, really, really don't want Donald Trump to tweet at them personally about it because he's attacking specific companies and threatening to put tariffs on them specifically. What if Amazon ticks off Trump and he decides to put a 100% tariff on anything that Amazon specifically is bringing into the country? That would be absolutely devastating. There's this concern about doing anything the president would dislike too publicly because he might lash out at you, and that's harmful. You remember at the end here where he said that the sellers would absorb the costs? I'll replay that.
Probably going to be a number of sellers who decide they're going to take share and not increase price. And so that diversity helps customers in our marketplace.
What he's not telling you is that Amazon actually specifically penalizes people who raise their prices. If you raise your prices too much, especially now when Amazon is really trying hard not to raise their prices, then you get dinged by Amazon and your sales absolutely tank. This was actually talked about a bit here on Fortune. Some desperate sellers say Amazon is penalizing them for raising prices to combat Trump's China tariffs. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy said recently that sellers would, quote, pass the cost of tariff increases onto consumers, but the reality has been a bit more complicated. But when some brands and merchants have tried to do just that, meaning pass on the costs to buyers, over the past 2 weeks, Amazon's systems have penalized them, leading to plummeting sales, according to around a dozen sellers who spoke with Fortune this week. These penalties have come in the form of removing the add to cart or buy now options on their product pages, which the vast majority of Amazon shoppers use to make purchases. This is known as losing the buy box or suppressing the buy box in the lingo of Amazon seller ecosystem, and it could be a death knell for any product, and in turn for the merchants if such an item is among their main revenue drivers. This is an active decision by Amazon. They had two choices. The first was to do nothing and just let the free market sort prices out as the tariffs become more intense. And the second was to actively involve themselves in the marketplace that they've created and manipulate it to their benefit in the way of trying to keep Trump happy by not increasing prices. And as you can imagine, they chose the second option. But this is not something that they're going to be able to do forever. You can try and bully companies into keeping their prices low, but if the costs of your goods being imported goes up and you're not able to raise prices to compensate, then you kind of just go out of business. And this means that the only people left on the platform are the people that raise their price. So the price has to go up either way. And indeed, the prices are going up. Even as Amazon is going on a PR tour press saying that they're not, reports are coming out everywhere saying that, yeah, they actually are. Amazon sellers raise prices after Trump's China tariffs. Quote, it's unsustainable. Amazon sellers are raising prices on hundreds of top-selling items as they confront higher import costs in the wake of President Donald Trump's new tariffs. About 25% of price increases in recent weeks have come from sellers based in China, according to Smart Scout data. But this isn't the only report. CBS talks about it a little bit here. Amazon sellers are hiking prices on hundreds of goods as tariffs bite. American consumers are starting to feel the impact of President Donald Trump's tariffs on Chinese imports, especially online. Since the second week in April, sellers on Amazon have raised their prices on nearly 1,000 products, according to data from Smart Scout, a price analysis software tool. The average price hike, nearly 30%, according to the company's analysis. So those two reports are compliments of Smart Scout, which is a company that tracked these prices on like Amazon, Walmart, and Newegg, eBay, all these other places that sell stuff. But Amazon has basically been ignoring these reports and claiming that they were seasonal or that they changed or that the products that Smart Scout has been tracking are actually not that relevant or indicative of the entire Amazon ecosystem. And of course, they said this right up until the Wall Street Journal dropped a huge report. Amazon hikes prices of essentials despite pledge to hold them steady. American e-commerce giant Amazon has increased the prices of many essential items in recent months, despite promising to keep them low. According to the Wall Street Journal report, Amazon has quietly raised the prices of hundreds of essentials over the past 5 months since President Donald Trump announced tariffs in April. These tariffs are threatened to disrupt global retail pricing and supply chains. The report notes that an analysis of nearly 2,500 Amazon products found that the prices for low-cost items such as deodorant, protein shakes, and pet care items have notably increased. On average, these products saw a price increase of 5% between April and July. For instance, a can of Campbellsville New England clam chowder cost $1.98 on January 20th, but jumped to $2.58 by July 1st, representing a roughly 30% price hike. And to this I have to say, yeah, of course prices are going to go up. The prices had to go up. If you import from China and then the government puts a special additional tax on things that are imported from China, then you have two options. One, you raise your prices, or two, you just take the hit and absorb it. But what if you're not able to do either? You can't raise your prices because, as we saw, Amazon is penalizing people that do, and you can't take the hit because you're a small business. Your profit margins aren't that big anyway, and you have lots of other expenses you have to pay for. Well, then you go out of business. There are no other options. Now, I've seen some people say that, of course, Amazon's prices are going up. I mean, they just came out of their big Prime Day sale. So if their prices are going up, it's just because they were so deeply discounted before, and they're just being set back to normal levels. But to that, I have to say, Is there actually a really good Prime Day sale that happens? There's been some debate online over what Prime Day sales actually accomplish, or if they're actually good.
Wait till the lawsuit comes out about Amazon Prime Day and all this false marketing, false advertising going on, because I've been seeing this a lot. People saved their cart in advance for Amazon Prime Day just for it to skyrocket in price. What they're doing is,
I've kind of always suspected that companies did this. I remember back at Black Friday sales, back in the old days, you go to Best Buy or Walmart and get huge Black Friday sales. I always remember seeing those prices and thinking, wasn't that just the price it was a few months ago? I know this is technically illegal, but as far as I know, companies have been doing this forever, where they slowly over the course of a few months increase a price so they can drop it right before big Thanksgiving or Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Christmas Day sales, and it's actually just the price it normally is. They just artificially jacked it up previously.
you think you're getting a huge deal, but it was actually, in fact, always that price. And Amazon has become a master at understanding consumer psychology, where you think it's 50% off, but if we're comparing...
She calls it consumer psychology, where she says where you think it's 50% off, but it's not even really thinking. It actually says on there that it's a 50% off, that it was $112 and now it's only whatever it is, $52. That's not a master of human psychology. That's them just lying and then the people believing the lie. There's no psychology there. They're just dishonest business practice.
For Amazon Prime Day, you aren't saving anything, and if you are saving, it's a very nominal amount. They will slowly mark it up, put it a red, Prime Day sale. You understand that there's a limited amount of days for Prime Day. You're encouraged to buy it even though it's pretty much the same price, and it always was. Prime Day is such...
So she goes on to say it's a scam, and a lot of people seem to have similar experiences with this. This is what stores did during Black Friday too, sad face. Yeah, I'm a habitual price tracker across different companies, including Amazon, and I can confidently say that Amazon is full of it. Yeah, I think we knew that. I'm so glad that people are talking about this, and I've been using Honey for the last 3 years, and everything has been more expensive. Well, I think Honey's got its own problems that you may or may not be aware of. But this is just more evidence of Amazon's garbage. They say that they won't raise prices, but we can see that prices are actually going up. They say that Prime Day has these huge, great sales, but it's all just marketing gimmicks. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They're scared to be out of Trump's spotlight so that they don't get hit with the negative press that's associated with being a company that Trump is mad at in his spotlight. But at the same time, they don't want to lose money either. And so they've landed on just lying to consumers and denying facts and reports showing that they are actually raising prices, despite the fact that they're constantly insistent that they aren't. The Wall Street Journal, when they reached out to Amazon said the products tracked by the journal weren't representative of the company's prices overall. Quote, "We have not seen the average price of products offered in our store change up or down appreciably," the company said in a statement. "Our commitment to offering low prices, not relative percentage changes, is what delivers the most value to our customers." And it's kind of at some point just insulting how dumb they think we are. Prices are going up, Amazon is lying, and the world goes on. Thanks for watching.